Tough talk the last few days has really poisoned the atmosphere here on Capitol Hill. The tough talk has come from both sides, and it's really troubling to some of those lawmakers trying to forge a middle ground compromise. I spoke to one of the senators pushing a bipartisan deficit deal here on the Hill, Senator Michael Bennet, the Democrat of Colorado, to get his take on where things stand right now.
I think there's a lot of silliness in the political conversation that's being had in Washington, but that's not a reason not to be optimistic and not to try to build momentum toward a comprehensive solution. It's what the people in my town hall meetings want us to do. It's what everybody, not everybody, but virtually everyone in Colorado believes we should do, namely do our jobs and actually fix this problem so we can get on to all the other things we need to do to make sure that our country can compete in the 21st century.
You used to work in the financial services sector. You know how markets are watching this, how closely they are. There are a lot of skeptics out there right now who are not convinced America can get its fiscal house in order.
There are. I'll give you an example of a friend of mine that's in the markets. I think one of the most thoughtful investors that I know. The last time I went to see him, he told me he was buying gold. And I said, why are you buying gold? And he said, because I have no confidence that you guys can get this figured out. Our kids and our grandkids need us to get this figured out, and it's the reason why I've tried to push, as one member of 100 in the Senate, the work of the Gang of Six, which is 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats that are trying to hash out a plan that could satisfy both parties.
How much is riding on the Gang of Six right now?
I think a tremendous amount. There isn't really a plan B right now, which is, I'm sorry to put more pressure on them, but I think it's very important. You know, when I spend time in Colorado where there are very red parts of the state and very blue parts of the state, and I have town halls all over the place, and there are about 3 tests that have come out of those town halls for a plan. It has to be comprehensive, materially address the problem. People want to know that we're all in it together, and they want it to be bipartisan. The rest of it's details, but the last one's important to them because they don't have a lot of confidence in either party's answer here. The Gang of Six, you know, provides us the chance at least to try to move the ball down the field.
But you're hearing from top Republicans, Senator Kyle on the Senate side, Speaker Boehner, others saying, listen, no matter what comes out of this, no tax increases whatsoever. How do you bridge that gap?
I think that there are going to be people on both sides that are going to say, I'm going to draw my line in the sand here. I'm going to draw my line in the sand there. And what I hope is that there are enough people that are unwilling to draw any line except a line about what is the right thing to do for our kids and for our grandkids, that we can actually make progress, even though Washington, D.C. is in the habit, people in Washington, been here for a long time, are in the habit of drawing lines instead of actually getting the work done.
Treasury Secretary Geithner says August 2nd, that is the drop-dead date for the debt ceiling right now. That's when America potentially defaults on its obligations. You hear Republicans say, listen, Armageddon will not come if we push this a little bit further. What do you make of the timing here?
I think that anybody who thinks that it's a good idea for us to default on our obligations, or that somehow that's not an important statement about the complete lack of functionality of the United States government in the 21st century, is gravely mistaken. And the effect on, having been in the capital markets, the effect on our capital markets, the effect on our borrowing cost, of seeing interest rates spike, the effect on people living in my state who are trying to get a home loan or an auto loan, is going to be horrible. And what we ought to be doing, instead of having a discussion about whether or not we're going to reach Armageddon, is sit down and work it out.
The Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell on Tuesday reiterated that the GOP will not consider any tax increases as part of a deficit deal, and he is far less impressed with the Gang of Six talks than Senator Bennet is. Betty, he said that if there is any deal to come out of negotiations, it will come from the vice president's conversations with lawmakers happening over at Blair House, another meeting scheduled for Thursday. It will not come from the Gang of Six.
Okay, a lot to happen on that front. Peter, thank you very much.